Part 1. The Mansion in the Wilderness. The team of 4, plus the horse, traveled west for several weeks. The autumn winds turned to winter frost. The road was hard, and the nights were long.
Zhubaji, Pigsy, was already complaining. "Master," Pigsy grumbled, shifting the heavy luggage on his shoulders, "this is too hard. We have been walking forever. My belly is empty, and my feet hurt."
Maybe we should split up. You can go back to being a monk, and I can go back to the Gao village to see my wife. Shut up, idiot, Wukong said, walking ahead. We just started. Look, there's a house ahead.
Pigsy looked up. Indeed, in the middle of a dark pine forest there was a magnificent estate. It had red brick walls, green tiles, and a massive gate painted with gold lacquer. It looked like the home of a prince.
"A rich family," Pigsy cheered up instantly. "They must have good food. Master, let's ask for shelter." Sanzong was hesitant. "It is strange to find such a wealthy house in the middle of nowhere. Be careful." They knocked on the door. A maidservant dressed in silk opened it. "Greetings, holy monks," she smiled. "My mistress has been expecting you."
Part 2. The Widow's Offer. They were led into a grand hall. The furniture was made of rare sandalwood, and pearl curtains hung from the ceiling. A moment later, the mistress of the house walked in. She was a middle-aged woman, but she was stunningly beautiful. She wore brocade robes and gold jewelry. "Welcome," she said, her voice like music. "I am the widow Jia. My husband died last year, leaving me with enormous wealth." "We are just passing through," Sanzong bowed. "We only seek a night's lodging." "Why leave?" the widow sighed. "Listen to me, monks. I have thousands of acres of rice fields. I have barns full of grain, chests full of silk, and vaults full of gold. But I have no man in the house." She looked at the 4 travelers. "I have 3 daughters, Truth, Compassion, and Mercy. They are all young and beautiful. I was thinking, since the journey to the west is so dangerous, why don't you 4 stay here? You can marry my daughters and become the masters of this house. We have enough rice to feed you for 10 lifetimes." Pigsy dropped his luggage. His jaw hit the floor. "Did you hear that?" Pigsy whispered to Wukong, "Rice for 10 lifetimes, silk robes, beautiful wives." Sanzong sat like a stone statue. He closed his eyes and started chanting a sutra, ignoring her completely. Part 3. The Family Meeting. The widow was not discouraged. "Why don't you answer? Is my fortune not enough?" "Benefactress," Sanzong said sternly, "we are monks. We have sworn off wealth and lust. Even if you offered me the throne of an emperor, I would not stay." The widow got angry. "You stubborn monk, what is good about being a monk? You sleep in the dirt and beg for food?" "Here you could wear silk and sleep on feathers." "To you it is paradise," Senzang replied. "To me it is a prison of desire." The widow stormed out. "Fine, I will have the servants bring you dinner." Think about it. As soon as she left, Pigsy turned to the group. "Master, you are too rude. She is offering us a good life. Even if you don't want to stay, you should think about us." "You want to stay?" Wukong grinned. His fiery golden eyes had already seen through the widow's disguise. He saw the golden aura radiating from her. He knew this was a test, but he wanted to see Pigsy fail. "I'm just saying," Pigsy mumbled, "we need a backup plan." Wukong poked Sandy. "Hey, Sandy, do you want to stay? You can marry the 2nd daughter." Sandy shook his head firmly. "I was redeemed from the river of suffering. I will follow the master until I die. I don't want a wife." "What about you, Brother Monkey?" Pigsy asked. "I'm a monkey," Wukong laughed.
I don't care about girls." "But you look interested." "I'm not," Pigsy lied, drooling slightly. "But it would be rude to refuse completely. Maybe one of us should stay just to be polite." "You go," Wukong pushed him. "Go tell the widow you accept." "Well," Pigsy straightened his hat, "if you insist, I will sacrifice myself for the team." Part 4. Pigsy's Sacrifice. Pigsy snuck to the back of the house. He found the widow giving orders to the maids. "Mother-in-law," Pigsy called out sweetly. The widow turned around. "Who are you calling mother-in-law?" "You, of course," Pigsy giggled. "My master is a boring old stick, but I am different. I am strong, I can work the fields, and I don't mind being rich. I will marry your daughters." "Which one?" the widow asked. "Well," Pigsy scratched his big ear, "which one is the prettiest? They are all beautiful." "That's a problem," Pigsy frowned. "If I marry the oldest, the second will be jealous. If I marry the youngest, the oldest will be mad. I have a solution. Let me marry all three. And if you are lonely, I'll marry you too. I have plenty of energy." The widow laughed. "You greedy pig. You want 4 wives? Fine. But my daughters are shy. They are making handkerchiefs in a dark room. You must undergo a test." Part 5. The Blindfold Test. The widow led Pigsy to a dark hall. "My 3 daughters are standing in this room," she explained. "I will tie this blindfold over your eyes. You must try to catch them. If you catch one, you marry one. If you catch all 3, you marry all 3. "Easy!" Pigsy tied the black cloth over his eyes. He reached out his hands. "Come here, my little darlings." He heard giggling from the left. He lunged left. Swish! He grabbed only air. He heard the rustle of silk on the right. He lunged right. Bam! He ran face first into a pillar. "Ouch! Don't run!" Pigsy shouted. He ran around the room like a blind bull. He stumbled, he slipped, he crashed into tables. The girls were like ghosts, everywhere and nowhere. "They're too fast," Pigsy panted, dizzy and bruised. "Mother-in-law, give me something easier." "Fine," the widow's voice said. "Since you can't catch them, you must wear this." She handed him a pearl vest. "Each daughter knitted a shirt. Try this one on. If it fits, you can marry that daughter." Pigsy was delighted. He put on the vest. It was tight, but he squeezed his fat belly into it. "It fits! It fits! I'll take it!" Suddenly, the vest tightened. It wasn't made of pearls. It was made of ropes. "Hey!" Pigsy yelled. The ropes constricted his arms and legs. He fell over. "What is this? Let me go." The giggling stopped. The warmth of the house faded. The smell of perfume turned into the smell of cold pine needles. Pigsy was left lying in the dark, tied up like a dumpling. Part 6. The Morning After. The sun rose. Tang Sanzang woke up shivering. "Strange," Sanzang said, opening his eyes. "Where is the silk blanket?" "Where is the bed?" He looked around. The magnificent mansion was gone. Sanzang, Wukong, and Sandy were sleeping on the ground in a clearing of the pine forest. There were no walls, no gates, no rich widow. "It was a dream?" Sanzang sat up. "It was a lesson," Wukong yawned, stretching his back from a tree branch. "Look at the tree over there." Sanzang and Sandy looked. Hanging from a large cypress tree was Zhu Bajie. He was tied up tightly with vines, which he thought was the vest. He was shouting in his sleep, "Wife, don't leave me! Wait!" Wukong threw a pine cone at Pigsy's head. "Wake up, son-in-law!" "Time to plow the fields." Pigsy woke up with a start. He saw he was hanging upside down in a tree. He saw his brothers laughing at him. He realized the truth. "It was a trick!" Pigsy cried. "Where is the house?" There was no house, Wukong explained, jumping down. It was the Bodhisattva Guanyin, along with the Bodhisattvas Manjushri, wisdom, Samantabhadra, action, and Lishan, the old mother.
They came down to test our Zen mind. Wukong pointed to a piece of paper pinned to the tree. He read the poem aloud. We 4 saints came down to test your heart, to see if your faith was true from the start. The master is virtuous, silent and deep. Sandy and Monkey their vows they keep. But Pigsy is greedy and foolish and blind, so he hangs from the tree to clear his mind. Sanzang sighed with relief. Amitabha.
Thank you, Bodhisattvas, for sparing us. Sandy cut Pigsy down. Pigsy fell to the ground with a thud. He was blushing so hard his face was redder than a tomato. He tried to hide his face in his sleeves.
You knew, Pigsy accused Wukong. You knew it was them, and you let me make a fool of myself. I needed you to learn, Wukong grinned. Did you enjoy the blindfold game? Did you catch a wife?
I don't want to talk about it, Pigsy grumbled, picking up the luggage. I'm hungry. Let's go. Sanzong mounted the horse, shaking his head. Let this be a warning, Bajie.
The path to the west requires a pure heart. Next time, do not be deceived by beauty or wealth. Yes, master, Pixie muttered. But as they walked away, he looked back at the empty forest one last time. Still, the food smelled really good.